Again, my name is Chris Silva. I'm the president and CEO of the Taunton Area Chamber of Commerce. We are thrilled again at this quarterly Q&A several times a year. We have Mayor Shaunna O'Connell with us, and today she is being joined by their Chief Financial Officer, Patrick Delarusso, and their maybe not so new, but fairly new Director of Economic and Community Development, Jake Patikas. So first, I'd like to start off by welcoming you all here today and thanking our session's sponsor, which is the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro South. And I'd like to invite their Vice President and Chief Advancement Officer, Monica Lombardo, to say a few words.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. We are especially grateful to be sponsoring today's Q&A, really in recognition of some recognition we gave out last week at our annual meeting at Camp Riverside. So first, it was our pleasure to recognize the Taunton Area Chamber as our 2023 Community Partner of the Year, in recognition of the great job that they do, clearly creating forums and connecting and creating collaboration in the broader greater Taunton community, and especially for the work that they've done to support a lot of collaboration between nonprofits and other social service agencies in the area. So thank you again to Chris. Congratulations to the entire team. We truly appreciate your partnership and support. And then also the other sort of star of the night for us at the event was Mayor O'Connell, who received our inaugural Champion for Youth Excellence and Advocacy Award. That was a new award that we created this year, really in recognition and hopefully to inspire other civic leaders to want to leverage their platforms the way that Mayor O'Connell has done to support not just Boys and Girls Clubs, but youth and families, and really championing, bringing resources to our community in that regard. So two critical partners for us in carrying out our mission every day. It's back to school time, as we all know. So here in Taunton, just a couple weeks ago, welcomed back close to 300 kids a day in our Taunton clubhouse, before and after school programming, enrichment program, the swim team's back, sports leagues, all kinds of great stuff, a lot of activity at the club. And of course, would always welcome anyone on the call today to come in, check it out, see what kinds of great things we have going on at the club, and just connect with, future leaders we hope to see on calls like this in the future. So thank you again so much. And I have a couple members of my team as well on the call, but want to leave as much time as possible for Mayor O'Connell to answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. That was a true honor for us here at the Chamber to receive that award from you all, especially being such a vital part of this community, and to also be sharing that evening with Mayor O'Connell and the important work that she's done was really special for all of us who were there. So thank you so much again. We're excited to continue our commitment to partnering with our community. In fact, this year we have recently launched the Chamber Service Corps, and that is a group of Chamber members who are on call for hands-on, boots on the ground assistance with nonprofits and even small businesses in our community if necessary. So we're excited to launch that, and thank you again so much for this honor. So I will now turn it over to Mayor O'Connell for some opening remarks.
Good morning. Thank you, Chris. And thank you all for taking the time to be with us this morning. We always appreciate the opportunity to touch base with everyone, answer some questions, give you guys some updates. And it was really a nice night at the Boys and Girls Club annual meeting to see so many wonderful people from our community there supporting the good work that the Boys and Girls Club do. And it was quite an honor to be recognized, especially alongside the Chamber that is just full of so many members that are so invested in our community in many, many different ways. And we are very grateful to you all for what you do here in the city of Taunton. And, and I'll just start by saying, I know we have a lot of questions to answer, so we'll get right to them. But what we've focused on really to be able to do the things that we do, like support the Boys and Girls Club or children's mental health initiatives, our seniors, our veterans, working on our infrastructure, upgrading our parks, and the many, many things that we're, our whole entire team is working on, is really focusing on our finances, getting our financial house in order, having fiscal discipline and putting in place best financial practices that allow us to support the community, create programs, get work done and address some really long-standing issues here in the community. And we, I'm really proud of the work our team has done over the past 4 years to move Taunton forward in so many areas and really make us a leading city, as we started saying, when I came into office, that was our goal. And we are well on our way with our AA+ bond rating that our finance team worked so hard to get, and increasing our grant funding since I've been in office, by 500%. Both things which save the taxpayers millions of dollars. So we're always working hard. We're always looking to be creative and think out of the box. And we always appreciate hearing from you and from members of the community what more we can do, how we can do better, and how we can better serve you. So with that, I will turn it back over to you, Chris, and thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll launch into our first question, which was featured in the Gazette recently, which is, what are your thoughts on the proposed waterfront district in the Weir section?
So let me begin with the work that we're doing in the Weir. The Taunton River is just this beautiful, amazing natural resource that we have. And we want to make sure that we're using it to the best of our advantage and that the whole community can enjoy it in some way. So we've been doing a lot of work to revitalize the Weir. You probably noticed, especially if you have children, that we installed a new splash pad there this summer, and that, people in the community just love it. That was one of the things when I came in, we really wanted to concentrate on improving our parks. And I love kids, I love splash pads, I love playing. So that was one of the things that we really wanted to get done, and we did. And we also made ADA improvements there. We're now working on the other side of the river, which is called Walker Park. And we're renovating that with new walkways, seating areas, landscaping, a bandstand, so that people can really enjoy and take advantage of the river. We're also making plans for more recreation in that area, like kayaking. So we're, working with Park and Rec. AJ Marshall is the commissioner there, loves his job more than anything. So we're looking at, for one, kayaks to, so people can rent them and just enjoy the beauty of the Taunton River with their family. We also just renovated the parking lot there that we owned, kind of adjacent to the fire station, across the street from the fire station, and are installing electrical charging stations for vehicles. And our team is working really hard on bringing in new development. So there will be a restaurant coming in the near future, a new restaurant in the Weir, a new housing development is being worked on right now. And we have a lot of programs for businesses to take advantage of to help them either better their business, open a new business, or create a development, like our facade program that, I'm sure you've seen the results of that, not only downtown, but in Winton and the Weir, so that we're helping businesses to kind of give their business a facelift and, beautify the community at the same time. We have a rent rebate program that we expanded. It was originally just for downtown businesses, but now we have expanded it to Winton and the Weir, because we really want to make sure that we're concentrating on all areas of the city. And we have our new Revitalized Taunton program that we will be financially assisting businesses with grants for really hard to develop properties. So a lot of things going on right now down the Weir to revitalize, to make sure people can enjoy the Taunton River, and to help the current businesses that are there. As far as creating a waterfront district, what we are thinking about internally is that really needs to be defined. So it's a great idea, people are talking about it, but what does it mean, right? So, we do have a lot of tools available to us right now via zoning, planning, ordinance, to kind of guide and direct development in the direction which we want to see it go. And, our team, internally, we meet all the time. We have these, visions, and we're implementing them, as you can see in the new parks that we've created. So we're doing our homework on what that could look like, what it means, and what would be the implications of it. And because, like I said, we're always open to ideas. We want to hear what the community wants, and we want to address those needs. I think Jay Patikos might be able to add a little bit more to the waterfront district discussion part of it, because we, started doing a lot of research on kind of what are the pros and cons of that, and what would it look like here in Taunton.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the biggest question with a proposed water district is, like the mayor said, what does it entail? We're a little concerned about any kind of restrictions on development in a certain strip of area like this. It all came about because of the Bacon Felt property, which is for sale. For most, that property. It's just a rundown piece of land and building there, 3.2 acres right across from the boat launch. So it's something that we're digging into, trying to find out what other towns have done as far as water districts. And to tell you the truth, everybody so far has been different. Plymouth has one that's basically, it's a water district, but it's just a group of businesses that have got together to pool their resources and create a nonprofit. In Salem, they have a historic water district where it's mostly the historic commission that's dictating, facade improvements, but there's no zoning regulations. So there's a lot more we need to do to figure out what we want there. I mean, we were just talking about the Bacon Felt property today. Now, the RFP that we're going to put out for the Bacon Felt property, we can tailor it to kind of try to get the development we want there. So we were talking about like potential apartments on the upper floors. We were talking about, one of the things I've been trying to do is create like a performing arts theater, bring it back to Taunton. And that's one of the things where we can actually give additional points for a developer that wants to come in and maybe create like a first floor restaurant and theater kind of idea. So these are all things that are within our control. So I think that's the whole catalyst behind this idea of making it a waterfront district, is because it's such a beautiful part of Taunton and the only one that has waterfront, that you want to keep it nice. You want to keep it beautiful. And that's what we're working on. And all that stuff is kind of in our purview right now. So we're still trying to do the research to figure out what's the best step for us to take there.
Thanks, Jay. And just to add to that regarding the Bacon Felt, so, our team has been talking about Bacon Felt for a long time. We knew we were going to possibly get possession of it at the beginning of the year, possibly even last year. So we've already been thinking about what does that look like? How are we going to develop it? What is the best fit for the community? And those conversations include some of the things that Jay just said, possible housing, retail, shops, recreation. So, internally, we have these discussions all the time. We meet all the time, and we're always, thinking about our vision and how do we implement it in the best way possible for the community. So all these things are really in the works right now. Our team is really focused on those things, and we're looking forward to the development of that property and all the other development that we're going to be seeing where.
Thank you both. I know that's part of my commute sometimes, and it's really been exciting to see the changes that have happened over the years. And obviously the draw of the River House restaurant, I think, is, kind of your great starting point for trying to build and improve the business community down there too. So excited for all that's to come. I know I'm sure Mr. Dick Schaefer, who's on the call, and the Taunton River Watershed Alliance will be very excited as well. So thank you for that. Can you please provide an update on the South Coast Rail, and additionally, why the construction at that 24-140 exchange has stopped?
Sure. So South Coast Rail, Jay, after we'll talk a little bit about kind of the schedule and the construction piece. But what's really exciting about the South Coast Rail coming to Taunton is one of the real big benefits that we're seeing is the economic development in that area already. So, right next to the South Coast Rail at 1141 County Street, we have a beautiful development that is coming. It's going to be about 280 rental units. and it'll be retail and commercial as well. And, they've just done a very nice job making it fit into Taunton, making it look very pretty, well landscaped, and a nice place to be. So that'll do a number of things. I mean, it'll create jobs as the project happens, which will also create some economic activity for all of the people working there. It's going to be quite a large project. And then, of course, afterwards, all of the tenants, that are there will be, new members of Taunton, or, some that will move there, but people that it'll spread throughout the community. And as far as, revenue goes, we will get like between, $1.5 and $2 million just in permitting fees for that project. So it's a one-time infusion of cash, but it's a welcome one-time infusion of cash. And there will be a significant increase in the property taxes that we are able to collect on that property as well. And, we think it will spur other development in the area. And actually, Jay is already working on some other really great development pieces in that area too. So we are very excited about that, what South Coast Rail brings to this community, in addition to the new mode of transportation and people being able to go to Boston or Fall River or New Bedford, and most beneficially, people being able to come into Taunton. Jay, I am going to turn it over to you because I know you can talk about the schedule for the South Coast Rail, the trips. I think there's going to be 12 trips, 6 two-way trips, or 6 round-way trips. I'm not sure on the interchange, but Jay may have some information on that.
Yeah, I know the biggest question is when is it going to start? And that's the question, the answer we don't have right now. There's still a lot of things up in the air. I've been told the Taunton station is the most complex of all the stations that they've had to construct. I know a lot of the other stations are complete. We don't have a date as far as when the rides will start. I wish I did. I pressed them again yesterday. But like the mayor said, there'll be 6 round trips in the morning and 6 in the afternoon, evening time. And it's something we're definitely looking forward to. We're doing a lot of our economic development work on 140. It's just a great attraction to have a rail. The whole key for Taunton is we don't want people to go to the rail and then leave. We want them to leave there and find other things to do, other restaurants. So we're focusing a lot of our activity on the 140 corridor. There's a lot of restaurants that have been closed. There's a lot of potential going on down the street. I know one of the things I've always heard when I was hired was about Benjamin's, getting another Benjamin's back. I get it. I think Taunton has a lot of great restaurants. I think we need more. So that's one of the things we've been working on, and that quarter especially is one of those places that we're aiming it for. So definitely a lot more to come when it comes to that, and it's all really because of the rail and the work that's being done there. But if you guys haven't linked in with me on LinkedIn, make sure you do, because I post all this stuff. I posted the map yesterday for the new MBTA out of Taunton, so definitely connect on LinkedIn, and I provide updates also through the city of Taunton LinkedIn too on all these different things that are going on and developments to keep you guys posted.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah, I find it tremendously helpful. You're often posting information and pictures about available properties. You're also championing our existing business community. So I think it's great. I always learn something by following you on LinkedIn. But what the question around the construction stopping at the highway exchange, is that something that, I know it's not a city job, but is that anything you have any information about?
I can do that one, Mayor, if that's okay. Basically, the workers walked off the site. That's what happened. It's one of those things that we had some meetings with the South Coast Rail people, and it was just a development where they just walked off the site. So the state is trying to get like the next business in line to start that work again. So that's why that work had stopped. It's not anything that's really been discussed all that much, and it's really as simple as workers just walking off the site.
Okay. Thank you for the update. As far as downtown, the displacement of the businesses due to the construction that was happening on that corner, The question is, what is the city, what has the city done or is doing to assist those displaced businesses?
Yeah, I'm glad you're asking about that, because that was, that was kind of a curveball for everyone. And, as most of you probably know, that is a private project on a building that I believe is about 165 years old. And Patrick or Jay can correct me if I'm wrong on that number, but it's in that neighborhood. And so there were some unanticipated problems during construction. And, obviously everyone's number one concern and priority is safety of, the tenants in there and of course the community. So there is repair work going on right now. But, when it happened, our entire team, Patrick, Jay, our building inspector, our planner, everyone got into action very quickly and got involved. We brought all the stakeholders together, and the developer and, the construction company, the general manager, to, really make sure that we had a clear understanding of everything that was happening, when it was going to be happening, pushing them along to make sure they had a plan to fix this. And they have been very responsive, the developer there. They have been very good to work with. And Colleen Simmons from the bid and Eileen as well have been working very closely with us. They've been very good to work with and help us keep everyone connected. So we also called a meeting with all of the businesses that were affected so that we could get them all connected, because everybody kind of felt like they were on their own island. And so, as a city, we said, let's bring everyone together. So we did it on a couple of different fronts. And, we wanted to understand, what their needs were, because the decision was quickly made that the buildings had to close, that the businesses had to close, and they had to be relocated. And that was hard for everyone to swallow, but everyone really kind of took it in stride and said, this is what we're faced with. Let's figure out a solution. So we worked to start finding temporary spaces for all of those businesses. I believe there were 9 affected businesses. And so we worked with, the schools so they could help Applause Academy, and also with the local downtown businesses that might have spaces. And with our city buildings, we have a couple of city buildings in which we had spaces to offer. Some of you may have done yoga in City Hall chambers. We offered the chambers up for Marilva and Open Doors Yoga. And now she has a temporary space downtown. So 8 of the 9 businesses have been placed in temporary locations. Some of them are in city-owned buildings, and we are giving them, what I would call a significant discount in rent, because we understand the situation they're in. As a city, we can't give things away for free, so there has to be some kind of compensation there. And we're also working on making banners for them to hang along the fencing, so that, that say temporary located at, and, their new location, so that when people go to, their business, they'll know where to find them. So there were a couple of things where, like, what do you need? What do you need? And we offered to do the banners, and they were very pleased about that. And so, and as we move forward, we are keeping in close touch with developers and making sure that Colleen is updated at the bid, and so that all the businesses can be updated as well. The timeline, Patrick can probably talk more about the timeline. And it's, it's kind of an estimate of when businesses are going to get back in there. But we're, people really worked well together, and it was nice to see this community come together to support those businesses and see how resilient those businesses were in such a tough situation. Oh, and you know what, one more thing, Patrick, I'm sorry. We are opening the sidewalk there. So it's been determined that it's been safe to open the sidewalk. So if it's not open already, it will be opening soon. But go ahead, Patrick, thanks.
Sure, thank you. So by all accounts, if everything in a perfect world goes well, they should be able to allow businesses to start coming back in January or February. based upon the construction schedule that we, as the mayor mentioned, got together with all the stakeholders, everybody got in the room. The design, the biggest concern obviously is the safety and the structural concern. What Delbrook has done is they brought us into their meetings with their structural engineers that NOAA has brought in. So what that did for us was allow basically the city, the mayor's concern was the businesses affected and the safety of residents walking up and down that street. So having all the stakeholders together really allowed the city's officials to kind of make sure, trust but verify, if you will, with the company. So that was a really positive thing. And, you know, talking to our structural engineers from Beta Engineering, the timeline, you know, I know we all wanted, you know, everybody to be back in 5 or 6 weeks, but once they said structural, you know, you're talking 90 to 120 days. So the timeline, January, February is more realistic, but again, that's pending, you know, the outcome as you go with an older building, as the mayor mentioned. You know, sometimes you don't know what's behind the curtain, if you will, right? So you start looking at that. It could be, you know, a little bit later, but by all accounts, January, February, you'll have businesses back open.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Yeah, I know the chamber also reached out to these businesses to offer assistance as well. So thank you for all that you're doing for them too. So on to the proposed casino. Wow, this has been a topic for a long time. Do we have any updates on that?
I would say probably minimal information, but we do know that, you know, the tribe is looking to move forward in some fashion. You know, our priority, as always, is the benefit to the community. So we have been very clear that, you know, we need to receive benefit that this community expected and voted for, you know, way back when it was approved here in Taunton. So we're kind of waiting to see where they are telling us that they would like to go. And we are going to review that along with City Council, of course, you know, to see if that's the right fit for Taunton and that is something that our community would accept. I don't know if Patrick or Jay has anything to add to that, but there's not a whole lot of information that we have.
I think you summed it up very, very well, Mayor. Like you know, we don't know really what the scope of the project is that they're talking about, a proposed temporary facility. We don't know what that means. And they were supposed to come before. I'm sure some of you followed the council agenda. There was a letter on the agenda and the casino was proposing to come in. Apparently they're just not ready yet. So we really don't have much else to share other than that.
Okay. So right across the way there, the Galleria Mall property, what's happening there?
So as you probably know, you know, the folks that, or the company, the developer that bought that property does, you know, warehousing type of projects. And they had originally had FedEx that was going to be doing, you know, a project there and building a facility there. They pulled out last year. I think they canceled 3 projects nationwide, and that was one of them. You know, just due to, you know, the atmosphere right now. So they are still moving forward on building a, you know, distribution warehouse type of facility. So I think Jay or Patrick might be able to speak better to the timeline, but I know they've been working on that for quite some time now, because we do, of course, you know, keep in touch with them, see what their needs are and what their plans are. Jay, do you have some more specifics on their timeline?
Yeah, so just to back up a little bit, so the people, the Portman Group that own the Galleria Mall paid $75 million for this site. Now, what that means is that it eliminates any kind of potential for retail development in that area again, because the land is so expensive. For retail establishments to go in there and rent space would be astronomical. So I know everybody asks about the Galleria, and I know the past and the mall that was there and stuff, but unfortunately, the way this all transpired, there's no chance of getting any retail going into this place. So what they're going to build is, the proposal is for 4 buildings. They plan on constructing 3, 250,000 square feet, 275,000 square feet, and 450,000 square foot buildings. Now, we're hoping to get an industrial manufacturing focus going there because we get a lot of demand for that. I don't want it to be just warehouse and distribution. We're working on that with them now. They do not do apartment projects because there's so much land there to develop. We've asked them about the potential of doing apartment projects there, and that's not what they do. They handle industrial focus. So as far as the first building, which is the 250,000 square foot building, that should be built within the next year. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It kind of stinks. I know we have other retail plans. Don't worry, that we'll talk about later. But as far as the Galleria site, and those signs are going to be going down. If you guys are nostalgic for those signs, sorry, but I kind of hate looking at them because it's like, this is what we used to have. Enough of that. Let's eliminate that. So they're going to be taking down those signs in the coming weeks. For those who hate those signs like me. But that's basically it on the Galleria site.
Yeah, and it might not be, you know, a beautiful new restaurant or housing, but it does create much needed jobs at all levels, and it will increase our revenue for property and personal taxes as well.
Yeah, Dick Schaefer here. The major interest we're getting through our office is large square footage warehousing, which they've been permitted for. I also have a European-owned solar manufacturer that I'm trying to get the representative over here to meet with Jay and the city on and the owner of that site. So it's a remaining large tract of land in the greater Taunton area. And so it has a lot of interest, which got derailed while the FedEx opportunity was there. And now the owners are recommitted to getting some response on that. So more to come on the interest that I'm sharing with Jay. Thank you.
Thanks, Dick, for lending your knowledge to that question also. Actually, this came up earlier, and we had one of our members inquiring about the facade improvement grant. Can you tell us more? Is that still available? It sounded like it is, and what the qualifications would be.
Yes, I'm glad you asked, because it is still available and we want to see businesses take advantage of that. You know, that was something coming into office that was really important for us. I knew that there was a need in the city and, you know, across the city, not just downtown. So we created the facade improvement program. And we started that with $550,000 of funding. There's been a demand for it. So we recently added another $100,000 of funding. And, you know, you can see the results up and down Main Street. You know, we've done some in the Ware and Whittington as well. So it's been really, really popular. So far, there are 8 facades completed. There are 10 currently being reviewed that hopefully we will see soon. And there's about another $160,000 left in the grant fund for people to apply. So, you know, we do encourage people to apply for that, you know, to give your business that nice facelift and, you know, beautify the entire area. It really opens, you know, your door to your business, makes it look more welcoming, inviting, and there's just so much benefit to it. So we're really thrilled that we're seeing the results of that program all across the city.
That's great. And that information, I'm sure, is available right on the city's website as far as the application.
It is, yes. Jay, is that under OECD on the website?
Yes, and you can always reach out to, I'll put my number and email in the chat. You can always reach out. I know People Incorporated is on the call. They took advantage of the sign and facade for the downtown area. And then, like the mayor said, there were many others. So if there's any questions on, you know, the money and how it works, please just let me know. I'll put my info in the chat.
Thanks, Jay. Mayor, I'm not sure if some of the dollars you're putting toward the facade came from the ARPA funds, but if you could talk a little bit about what is happening with those funds.
Sure, and yes, they did. So, you know, kind of our strategy with ARPA funds was to use funding for non-recurring costs. So, you know, we didn't want to use it for the operating budget. That's really not good financial practice. And we wanted to really take care of kind of some longstanding one-time costs that we could get off our plate and really make some improvements. We also wanted to make sure it was like kind of like, I guess, well-rounded, that we were using those funds for all different areas, all different issues. So we've addressed a lot of infrastructure needs with, you know, roads, water, sewer, our public safety facility. We really spread it around business development, like our facade program. One of the things that we did with that. You know, our Taunton Leading City Initiative. We did a lot of funding for human services and local nonprofits, because something that's really important to us is, you know, taking care of all the people in this community and kind of lifting them up and, you know, making sure that we're meeting their needs. And there's so many great nonprofits in the city of Taunton that we were able to work with, you know, Pride, New Hope, Boys and Girls Club, you know, YMCA, Girls Inc. So a lot of locals, you know, I want to call it the soup kitchen, but I can't think of the name of the St. Thomas kitchen there. So we, you know, wanted to make sure we kind of touched everybody. And of course, we put a lot into, you know, public health and wellness, into our senior center, our seniors. We've hired more, you know, caseworkers and managers to make sure that they have the services that they need. And we did a lot of community improvements as well. You know, we're improving our parks and all of the funding, all the things that I just talked about. It's a mix of funding. So it's, you know, maybe some ARPA grants, and you know, Patrick can talk about the other types of funding, but it's kind of a mix of different funding that we have, due to, you know, the fiscal controls that we've put in place that allow us to make the improvements that this community wants to see. And one thing I have to tell you, you know, last night we had a party, you know, an event, and people were thrilled when I told them that next year we are going to be installing pickleball courts. So if there's any pickleball fans here, you are going to be very happy next year when you see those courts installed. And so some of the funds that we created with our ARPA funds, we want to, you know, have sustainability to those. So we might have started them off with the ARPA funds, but we've been very creative in thinking about how do we make them sustainable. So, you know, the Taunton Leading City Initiative is, you know, one of the programs in that is our Revitalize Taunton program. And that's to help, you know, businesses, developers with, you know, hard to develop properties that they just can't get the numbers to match so that they can develop their property. And it might be right downtown, it might be somewhere else in the city. So what we've done is we've taken all of our city-owned properties, we've done a catalog of those, and we're, you know, the ones that we don't need or we don't want to preserve for open space or whatever, we're going to be, you know, selling those off so that we're creating this revenue stream that will fund some of these programs that we've created with the ARPA funding. So we're really focused on planning ahead and, you know, the sustainability of the programs that we create. Patrick, do you need to add anything to that, or did
I think it's worth mentioning. I saw April from the Taunton Diversity Network on the call too. I know that she was just a recent recipient of the Drug Endangered Children program that we're working collectively with April and Steve Turner from the police department to you know, sort of get that program back up to the front lines, because we know that that's really important. And I think I want to give the mayor a lot of credit here on, in the next coming weeks, we're going to be giving an update sort of to the city council and residents on the ARPA program as we're sort of coming to the end of, you know, we've earmarked essentially all the funds and kind of have the program. You'll see a pie chart that really demonstrates the thought that the mayor put into making sure that all aspects of the community was touched, which a lot of cities didn't do. You notice a lot of cities just gave all the money to public safety, or all the money to water, or all the money to nonprofit. The mayor really emphasized that everybody needs to be impacted by this, and the city did that. So I think I'm really looking forward to sharing that with the public very soon.
Thanks, Patrick. I'm not sure, again, if this was part of that, but the rent rebate program, is that still happening? And can you talk about, again, the criteria for that?
Yes, the rent rebate program is still available, and I don't know if it was a year or 2 years ago, we were looking at, our programs, and that existed when we got here. I believe Tom Boyd created that, which was a very, innovative thinking, from his team. And so it was just downtown initially. And again, we want to make sure that we're concentrating citywide. So we expanded it so that businesses in Whittington and the Ware can also take advantage of that. Jay can talk, Jay's office administers that program, so he can talk a little bit about it, but we have seen this year and fairly recently some businesses take advantage of that program. So it really helps to get them started, to fill our storefronts, give these businesses, a helping hand while they're getting going, so that they can be successful here in the city of Taunton, and just add, to the all of the great things in this community.
Yeah, the rent rebate program is basically $500 a month that we provide for the first year, and $250 a month for the second year. We have tapped its course as far as the money goes, but we plan to be adding more money to that fund eventually. How it works is it's got to be a business in the downtown Ware or Whittington areas. It's got to be a business that looks to have an impact. We'd like to have a couple of employees that they plan to do something that's going to draw people to the areas of the city. That's really the whole point of it, is we're trying to give you, some money to make the rent easier for you, but we also want to have, your business be an impact on the area. So that's another thing that you can reach out to me and I can give you more information. That's also on the website as well. But that's basically how that's structured.
Thanks, Jay. You mentioned the public safety building. Can you tell us what's happening with that, what the timeline is for that?
Yes, so we are moving full speed ahead on the public safety building. After 4 decades, we really want to get that done. So we're really thrilled that it was overwhelmingly approved by the community and unanimously approved by the city council. So we just started, or just will be starting, demolition and site work. So Patrick can talk a little bit more and correct whatever I don't get right here. But so we're doing the demolition of the building there and the site work. We're on target for our schedule, and you will see shovels in the ground, barring any unknown circumstances or unforeseen circumstances. You will see shovels in the ground in spring 2024. So that is going to be a great day for the city of Taunton. Our men and women in uniform are really thrilled. They're excited. They really deserve and need this new facility, and our community deserves and needs this new facility as well.
And I just to add to that, I think, again, the mayor's vision of bringing this forward involved all the stakeholders, right? Police and fire, emergency management, and the fire and police department in the city have just been so welcoming and such great partners of working with our design team and our project manager bringing this forward. One, I'd like to mention a financial component to this, is that the first phase of the project, which was and budgeted in the program for $750,000. Because of our aggressive procurement and because of how we structured the bid packages for this project, have already saved approximately $400,000 off the program. It was very competitive. And any savings, as the mayor committed to this to the public, that any savings will come from the bonded component of the financing of the project, not the cash that the mayor allocated through ARPA or for free cash. So applying even more savings to the taxpayers, which is obviously the mission. And with savings like that, we can only hope to see what happens when the big packages go out, right? But going to the site work, the demolition of the Villa Fatima building right now, We have teams inside of the facility that are just making sure that it's ready to fall down safely, right? That's sort of what we're doing now. And then the fun part will be we'll invite everybody to come to the big wrecking ball. Will be there to knock the building down and all of that fun stuff. So that's coming up a little bit later in the month of September, early October. So we're still a couple weeks out from that, but we'll get some information on that. A really awesome thing of having our director of procurement and our whole advisory committee. We're actually right now behind the scenes. I'm not sure I'm not going to get into the weeds of mass procurement law, but you have to do pre-qualification of the subcontractors before you can get a general contractor, if that makes any sense. And so the pre-qualification, the pre-qualification guidelines are being developed now and being sent off to the central register, which is a really critical piece to the project, because you're going to get to see what level of interest that you have. And so for the city, because the private sector, the interest rates are going so high on commercial loans, it allows us to actually draw more attention over to the public side, because we already have the money. So again, having the ability to get the funding in place ahead of time, knowing that interest rates are going to be going higher, has put the city really in the driver's seat for the remainder of this project. So we're really excited. We feel, based on our cost estimates, that we are on target, and we're going to do exactly what we said. We're going to save the taxpayers money when we borrow, because of our AA+ rating. Anywhere between $4 to $8 million, depending upon the day or how you want to look at it.
Thanks, Patrick. I find it fascinating personally to hear, this level of kind of detail of the financing of these types of projects, because I think people just, most people probably just have not a great sense of that. So I find it very interesting. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Yes.
Those are all of the previously submitted questions. I do want to give the mayor an opportunity, and also Patrick and Jay. If there's anything, there's so much going on in the city, and we've touched on many of those things, but is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you feel it's important to share with our members today?
Yeah, so I know people are interested in the fact that we recently purchased Foyle Cassidy. We purchased that for about $6 million, and Patrick will pass it over to him after to give you all the numbers, but about $6 million. And, if you think about it, the size of that building, the good condition that it's in, if we were to have to build a building like that, and we will have to do that at some point, it would be easily $100 million. So it was really an opportunity for us to purchase something that will save us, millions and millions of dollars in the future. As far as the use, we're still talking about what that looks like. We're on our way to finalizing the purchase and sale, so we're almost there. Right now, as I'm sure Bristol Community College is a tenant in that building, and so they've been great to have here in the city of Taunton. So we're pleased that they're there. And we're kind of thinking about possibly school activities. Some of our schools are getting a little cramped, so we're definitely talking with them about that. So we don't have a concrete plan on what the use will be, but I will tell you the entire building will be used fairly quickly, and it will be very beneficial to the city and the community. We are going to make the best use possible of that building. We do have to put some money into the building. There are improvements that have to be made, but we're making kind of our capital plan for that, so that we do it in a strategic way that makes sense for us, and financially also. Patrick, anything that you need to add?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think one of the most impressive pieces of the mayor putting this forward was it's going to cost the taxpayers of the city's bottom line nothing. This is being funded all from federal money from ARPA and MSBA reimbursements that will be coming in, which has to be used for a like project, right? So we're not allocating any additional funds from the city budget. We're not adding anything to taxes, and we're going to roll because the city has a 5-year financial plan and a 5-year financial forecast. We're going to work collaboratively with the school department and our building department to ensure that we get this into the pipeline. You know, this is going to be an added expense, an added building. But to the mayor's point, to bond $100 million project really cost folks about $220 million over the course of 20 to 30 years. We got it for 6, and we got to put a couple $1 million into it. It's the most business, it makes the most business sense, which is all we're about to do. And the best part, I want to just emphasize to everybody again, it's not costing the residents of the city $1. So that was really impressive. And the forward thinking that the mayor brought into effect allowed us to kind of do that ahead of time. As you know, the MSBA program reimburses sort of whenever they get around to it, for lack of a better term. But because we have our capital project stabilization account in place, we were able to sort of have that be the backstop as we await reimbursement and able to execute the purchase and sale. So the forward thinking that the O'Connell administration brought forward allowed this building to be purchased. I think that that's really a message that people really need to hear, because that's a huge savings. That's planning for the future. Think about that. $220 million would have cost you in real dollars after the interest rates get factored in and after the term of that note. So that's what the mayor saved the city.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Any other updates? This has been so helpful, amazing.
I think Dick has a question, Chris.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just to follow on the Coyle building, I sent a question in, but it was probably late. It was very nice to see that the 9/11 event that due to inclement weather was able to move into the auditorium. I understand it was a very, very nice ceremony, which, you know me, I'm always thinking. So I'm thinking, well, you know what? The city doesn't have a civic center. And what a great location to consider for the Coyle building, which has an auditorium. It has a field house. It has a cafeteria. It has small offices for nonprofits and community agencies. So just a thought to throw out there. It would be wonderful to have a City of Taunton Civic Center near the downtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. We're always open to hearing these great suggestions, and we appreciate it because we want to understand what people want to see here, what we need here, and so we appreciate you giving us that feedback.
Yes, thanks, Dick. So we're wrapping up here. Again, I want to thank the mayor for your time and this incredibly helpful information. Also to Patrick and Jay for giving us additional inside information on all of what's going on in City Hall and around our city. A couple of programming notes for the chamber, if you'll indulge me. The Coffee and Conversation Networking at Anchor Bar Fitness Studio is on Thursday morning this week. And our Oktoberfest celebration is next Wednesday. It is almost sold out. So if you're planning to attend, please don't hesitate to go online and get your reservation in there. We're really excited and pray for good weather for us. So again, thank you all for being on the call. Thank you all for your time this morning. Thank you again to the mayor, Patrick and Jay.
Chris, can I add something before everybody goes? Patrick, we never talked about MPP and our big victory yesterday. I really think everybody should know about this, and it's hot off the presses. No one else knows yet.
Oh, Jay, why don't you take it home?
Well, I mean, the Marketable Properties Program is a program that Mayor O'Connell created to unload these properties that the city owns. How it's going to be split is the city's going to get half the money and OECD is going to have half the money to start, putting money towards these programs. And we have 19 that have gone through city council right now. So approved for us to sell, usually RFP. So we had our first RFP opening yesterday. Patrick, I don't know, you want to take the good news home? Or? We
anticipated $50,000 for the sale of a building. And we received the highest bid was actually $350,000. So 7 times greater than our expectation. So what that means is that this program, once we close, the Mayor's Revitalization Fund is going to have $175,000 additional dollars to just take off and run from our first sale. And the city general fund will be increased by $175,000 from that sale. That's just the first one. So that's a huge success story for our team that, you know, we brought this forward. I mean, to take it in concept, the mayor wanted us to get this out. You know, this was her vision to be the TLC, right? Taunton Leading City Initiative. This is a big part of it. And collectively from January through this summer, it's been just a full court press from so many different divisions to make this happen under the mayor's leadership. So it really is awesome to see, kind of like, this is the first one. It was such a success. It's just so exciting. We just can't wait to see what's next. And this Range Ave, just so people know too, this information's online, but also through Pole Line Auctioneers, the next property that's going to be coming up is going to be a public auction. It's going to be open. It's for a developable land parcels, several parcels of land inside, so they can make, you know, several houses, if you will, inside a parcel. And that information is also can be found at the city's website through our procurement officer.
Sorry to interject there, Chris. I just wanted that to be known because that came about yesterday.
No,
What
that's really
property was
exciting.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Did someone ask a question?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
okay.
wondered what property.
45 School Street.
Oh, good. Right next to the future restaurant.
Congratulations, that's fantastic. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Anytime you can interject that kind of great news. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Thank you.
day.
Have a great day, guys.
Good meeting. Thank you.